Warras, how do you do? This is my podcast and it's just for you. It's called Ted Talks and it's a load of shite, but I hope you enjoy it because I've kept it light. It's 30 minutes long and all about Teesside, the people, the places and the Boro pride.
Download and listen to the Ted Hanky Podcast by order of the Peaky Blinders.
All right, matters. Welcome to Ted Talks, the Ted Hanky Podcast, episode 16. Similar sort of starting message to last week's show, really. About the Middlesbrough Football Club. Why can't we win a game? You know what I mean? Like, absolute dog shit. Oh, I'm absolutely livid, honestly. Like, I'm just going to slightly reflect on this game against Birmingham. You know what I mean? Because they are absolutely crap, and we got absolutely bossed off the pass. 16-year-old lad in midfield had Adam Clayton's pants down, had him in his pocket, took him home for tea, met his mum. You know, I just don't believe it, honestly. They're the type of, even Publius would have ground a result out against them. You know what I mean? Karanka would have as well. I just don't understand. There's something going fundamentally wrong at the minute, and I just can't put my finger on it, because I love Woodgate. I love him. He's got good hair. You know what I mean? He's got a colourful history. I seen him fingering lasses in the Empire and all types of stuff over the years. So he's a good lad. You know, he's one of our own. But I can't. I'm not going to give up on him just yet. But every time I think about the Middlesbrough game now, there's this little sort of message that plays in my head. This little type of song that just plays over and over in my head.
We are the Boro, we're absolutely dog shit. We are the Boro, our place don't serve to wear the kit. We are the Boro, not quite as mighty as before. We are the Boro, every game feels like a chore.
Sorry about that, man. I must have dozed off there or something like that. Right, so we've established the Boro crap. I'm not going to moan about that much longer now. You know what I mean? Because we've got to believe. I think we're gonna have a resurgence. We are. You know, we just need to get Robbie Keane out of retirement up front. I'm telling you, 20-odd goals a season from that little whippersnapper. But anyway, bit of a strange show this week because I'm actually on my holidays, so it's not going to be as long as normal, and there's not going to be as much variety. But I don't care because it's free. You're getting it for free, so you can't complain. So if anyone comments and goes, Ted, you know what I mean? Like, your podcast was nowhere near as good as before, I'll just say, I don't fucking care, mate. I don't care. I'm on my holidays. So you're lucky I'm putting one out, because I could have just put my feet up and forgot about yous, but I won't, because I love yous and I'm going to embrace yous like I do. So this week, I've got no guests at all. Absolutely no guests at all. I've been trying to get some guests lined up and no fuckers interested. It's mad. You know what I mean? I'm really, really annoyed. So if any of you matters out there know sort of like any famous people or former footballers or just a nice bit of flange or anything like that who might be interested in coming on the show, let me know. I'm very keen to get some of these reality TV stars on my show. I reckon I'd be able to do some good interviews with them. You know what I mean? You think about like the Love Islands or the Muff Islands, as I like to call it. You've got them Geordie Shores and stuff like that. Any of them would be. I mean, I was watching Geordie Shore. I was watching one of them the other day, and there's a lad on there from my hometown of Thornaby, Sam Gowland. I've never met him before. You know what I mean? I'm old enough to be his dad, but he's got a lovely big smile. You know, he looks after himself. I'd probably say he was a buck lad, very buck. But I'd like to do an interview with him, get to know him, get to understand his needs, get into all the detail of all the flanges I had up in Newcastle. That's that'll be more my type of thing, you know what I mean? But yeah, like I say, I was looking on his Instagram, and like he's just got like photos of him advertising anything he can. So he's like me, you know what I mean? He'll sell out for the shit. There's one of him advertising fucking magic trees for your car or something like that, and I thought, fair on you, lad, you know what I mean? I think the smell of dupe or something like that, you know, one of the current hot fragrances, dupe or cool waters, and he's advertising them. He's probably getting paid, you know what I mean? People who advertise on my podcast don't pay me, they take advantage. So I'd like to get some secrets from him and understand a bit more about, you know, what his secret to the flange success, as well as the obtaining advertising contract successes. So if any of my matters out there know him, tag him in my podcast post when I put them on social media and say, look, you need to get in touch with Ted. He wants to do an interview with you. I'll meet him in person. I'll meet him. We'll do it face to face. I'll record it. I'll even video it if he lets me, and we'll get it out there. And I think it'll be a lovely podcast or video. Two real hot hunks from Thornaby coming together and you know, just setting the world alight. So that would be really nice, wouldn't it? I think I'd really like that. I think he'd like that too. Hang on a minute. I can hear someone pottering around outside my studio. Oh. What you doing here?
Hello, Ted, you come to do the housework that you.
Oh, Radis, it's me clean, Miriam. Say hello. I'm doing my podcast, Miriam. Say hello.
Yeah, no.
What you doing here? I thought you weren't. I don't normally record my podcast this early because I'm going on my holidays. So it's clean. I've got a cleaner, you know what I mean? I'm doing all right for myself. Sometimes, yeah.
No more of that. No more.
All right, Marion. I understand it was a one-off. Listen, can I ask you a few questions? Because I'm struggling for a podcast guest.
Okay, yes, I do cleaning a little bit later on, then, if that's okay with you, Teddy.
She always calls me Teddy, so like, oh little nip. Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, have a seat. Have a seat there.
Oh, just a very comfy seat, this, Teddy. I like it very much.
Thank you very much, Miriam. Now, have you brought round the shaken vac?
Yes, I always bring around the shaken vac. It puts the freshness back, of course it does. I've also got you some toilet duck, and I'm going to do the windows. I'm going to give them a good wash, a good wipe.
Yeah, you should, because I caught Big Fat Julie looking through it the other day, trying to watch the athletics, you know, through my main window. I've kicked it out, proper big star this time, the silly cow. She's been getting up to all sorts down at that's fucking slimming world class. Honestly, I won't go into it. I'll tell you all later.
Oh, she's been shagging again, Ted.
Stop, Miriam. I never said she was doing that. You're jumping in. You know, be careful what you're saying.
Okay, I'm very sorry.
Back onto the cleaning anyway, Miriam, right? I'm having a real problem with thick, coarse hairs gathering in the plug hole, and I've noticed the past few times you've been round, you've not been able. Well, they're still there. You're still there.
That is because, Ted, they are big, horrible, disgusting pubic hairs. Not in my contract to remove pubic hairs. Certainly not big, massive, wispy grey pubic hairs, which I'm assuming are yours.
You cheek. I tell you what, Miriam, and you know this for a fact because you've had your head down there.
No, I haven't.
Yes, you have. And you know that bush down there is as black as the night. That's the night sky, isn't it?
No, no. You're leaving horrible hairs in Flocol, and you're expecting Miriam to go in there and pick them out and put them in the bin. Well, Miriam not gonna do that. Miriam does the hoovering, Miriam does the polishing.
Man up.
No. And Miriam also does the windows, and occasionally Miriam, when she's feeling nice, will walk Branko for you around the block and even pick up the doggy poop.
Yeah, you are quite good with Branko, I'll be honest. Listen, I won't keep you long, Miriam, but just before you go, what's your thoughts on the Boro?
I think that if you're referring to the Middlesbrough Football Club, I think that Adam Clayton is shit.
There you heard it all. Thanks, Miriam. You heard it all first. Adam Clayton is absolute crap. My very lovely cleaner Miriam there, hoovering away there. And yes, I have knobbed her. Yeah, it's true. It is true.
I once heard a wise man say there were no perfect men, only perfect intentions. That man was Ted Hanky.
We are the Boro. We're absolutely dog shit. We are the Boro. Our players don't serve to wear the kit. We are the Boro. Not quite as mighty as before. We are the Boro. Every game feels like a chore.
I must have drifted away again there, Maris, you know what I mean? I was having that fucking mad song in my head again. Oh, not Boro there. Miriam set it off there with her thoughts on Adam Clayton. Anyway, it's come to my favourite part of the show. It's a little earlier than normal. But like I said, you know, I'm struggling this week, so help us out, lads, you know what I mean? And lasses. And yeah, it's time for Ask Ted. Right, so my first question comes from serial arsehole Tony Seaman, or as I like to call him, Tony Seaman stain all over his eyebrows. I'll read it out, Tony, because you know, I think you've got a good heart somewhere in there. So here we go. Ted, is it correct when you were a baby, your mum took you to an ugly baby contest and got stopped at the door by one of the judges, and after having a look at you in your pram, he said to her, "Sorry, love, no professional." It's a fable. I don't know if it's true. You know, you've obviously heard the rumours. I'll be honest, mate, I've not heard of many ugly baby competitions over the years. I've heard of beautiful baby ones, and I won many of them, and I still win them as an adult now, as a beautiful adult award. But to have an ugly baby award is just morally wrong, and surely mothers wouldn't be entering their kids in it. So it's a bit of a silly question, Anthony Seaman Staines. So, but I see where you're coming from, and you've put 4 smiley emotives on the end of that, 4 laughing emotives on the end of that. So that makes me realise it's a kind-hearted question, and I accept it as what the young'uns these days call as bants. Top bants. So well done, Tony. Let's have a look. Lee Banks, good question this. Believe in Randolph Stain. Sounds like a biblical question, doesn't it, really? Will Randolph stay and break the bread with the disciples? No, it probably doesn't, actually. Do you know what? If he goes, right? If he goes, we are fucked, aren't we? Do you know what I mean? Like, we're probably gonna let at least 5 goals in a game at the moment, because, you know, Birmingham, he was pulling out a load of worldies, wasn't he? You know, and other games this season as well, he's been that difference from either getting a point or getting absolutely annihilated. So he's by far our best player, and he's probably one of the best keepers we had over the years. He's up there, for me, he's up there close to Schwarzer. I think his distribution lets him down sometimes. He's not as good with his feet. He's not like, you know, the Barcelona keeper we had. I can't remember his name, so I'm just going to make one up. Julio kick a ball, and I think Randolph eventually, if we can eventually get into the top league, I think Randolph will go down in folklore as one of our greatest keepers. There you go. Another football question here from Stuart Honeyman. Why is it the team don't seem to be playing for Woody? It's a very good question. I've been asking myself all the time. You know, that song's going off in my head again at the minute. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, Stuart, honestly. And I'd love to know, because the team, I mean, if you think about the team before even Publis came in, there's not been a great deal of change. You know, we've got like quite a lot of the same players here, but maybe that's the problem. Maybe he's been a bit loyal to some of the players who he was quite matey with when he was pulling on the shirt. You know what I mean? Like Clayton, for me at the minute, you know, a few seasons ago he was fantastic, but now he looks like, I don't know, he just looks like he's lost his edge. I don't think he wants to be here. You know, Ryan Shitton, he's hit and miss at the moment with his games as well. George Friend is, I know he's in and out and injured and stuff like that, but when he does play, he just doesn't look as sharp as he used to. So I don't know whether we need to give Woody a bit of time to sort of, he doesn't want to get rid of all the players. He'd be left with a bare bones of a squad, won't he? But you know, maybe he needs to start bringing some of these young'uns through, because as you've seen, that 16-year-old Birmingham midfielder ran the show. We must have some academy prospects who can do that. You look at that 16-year-old for Brighton in the Premier League the other day, came on, scored 2 against Tottenham. He reminded me of when Rooney came onto the scene. Even fucking Newcastle are knocking little ginger goofy 16-year-olds out as well. And you know, we've not had one of them since Andy Campbell. So no offence, Andy, but you were ginger, you weren't goofy though, mate. So we need to play some youth, and we need to give them a go, because it can't be any worse at the moment. I'd make a point of dropping some of these players who think they could just walk in the team now. So yeah, a bit of a lengthy answer for you there, mate. I hope you enjoyed that. Mark Sewell, it's over, Ted. League One for us might do us some good. Reality check and all that. Oh, do you know what, mate? We can't go down. We can't go down, because I don't think we've got the clout to come back up. You know, Sunderland, you know, they might do it, but they're having a few attempts, aren't they? Portsmouth, we don't want to do a Portsmouth, a Bolton, a Doncaster. You know, all these teams that go down never come back up. Worries me. So I'm hoping we can stay out of them relegation places and then build on it, you know. And who knows, next season we might be that, you know, the focus won't be on us, and we might be that little hidden gem that comes out and just fucking wins the league, and that, you know what I mean? Be class. Let's have a look at the next one here. All right, yeah, this is from Bryce Ad Wilson. Ted, would you rather fight 100 horses the size of ducks, or one duck the size of a horse? It's a very good question, that, Bri. I think I would probably take the risk of fighting one duck that is the size of a horse, because I reckon 100 horses the size of ducks, right, it might be a bit of a rampage. You know, I don't think I'd be able to take them all, but one duck the size of a horse, you know what I mean? I've seen Geordies punch a horse out, so I reckon I'd be able to knock a massive duck out, you know what I mean? And what they're going to do to me, they don't have teeth, right? They don't have fists. They've just got big daft feet and a big beak, and I reckon I would fucking bang a massive duck right out. I really do. Yeah, I do. Yeah. Norton Wilcock. It's a good question, this, I think. Let me have a look. Ted, I was watching the footy last week, and they had Souness and Roy Keane on the panel. Now, me and my nan both think Keane is a fanny, and I reckon me nan could batter him, and she's 86 and partially blind, mind. Question is, Ted, if you put Souness and Keane in a ring together, how long do you think it would take before Souness ripped Keane a new arsehole? I totally agree with you. I think Roy Keane, it's all in the stare with him, isn't it? You know, no, Gary, you're getting it wrong. When we were at Manchester United, you know, and I used to do this and I used to do that, I was the main man in the dressing room. You're all scared of me. You're all fucking scared of me. No, we're not, Roy. No, we're not, because you just think you're dead hard because you can grow one of them beards that has like mixed grey hairs and black beard, so it looks like you got a badger on your face and you got mad eyes. But there's nothing on you, man. You know what I mean? There's nothing on you. You must be about, 11 stone tops. I reckon I'd be able to get you in $1 million dream and choke you out, mate. So if I can do that, Souness Souness, man. You know what I mean? Even though he doesn't have the tash anymore, he still looks like a nutter. I reckon Souness, you know, you can imagine Souness bare knuckle fighting a load of travellers on top of a flat roof or in a car park, and he'd be banging them out. You know what I mean? Don't mess with Souness. Good question, that Willie Cock. I like that. Alex Geddes, don't know. If you could have been one of the Beatles, who would you have been? Bearing in mind, if you chose Lennon, you'd have had to deal with Yoko, and if you chose McCartney, you'd have had to deal with Linda and Heather Mills. Right, good question, Alex. As you know, big Beatles fan. You're right about Lennon there. You know, masterful songwriter, musician as well. Wrote some of the classics, but I don't think I could have coped with Yoko's Bush. You know, I mean, I'm a fan of the Bush, but Yoko's, you know, that was growing down the inner thighs. It was horrible. I don't want any of that. I don't think, and spending all them days in bed with her as well. She'd have been farting and everything. It'd be fucking stinking. I'm having none of that. McCartney, on the other hand, you know, I'd probably, if I was McCartney, I wouldn't have wobbled my head as much as he does, because he looks like he's disagreeing with everything all the time. Linda McCartney, not too bad, you know what I mean? She was an easy feed, vegetarian, so, you know, doesn't cost you the fortune in meat, but, you know, God rest her soul, sadly she passed away. Heather Mills, quite tasty, you know, she was a model, you know, and nothing to do, I'm going to make no jokes about the leg or anything like that, but by the looks of it, she was a bit of a nut job. So to answer the question, I would have been George Harrison. I really would, because I think he was probably he had the best hair. He was probably the most handsome out of all of them as well. So he probably got the most flange on the side that you didn't realise. A good solo career as well, and you know, he got stabbed and survived that. So he was rock hard. You know what I mean? He just sadly couldn't deal with what killed him. So I'd have dealt with that in my own way somehow, differently. So I would have been George Harrison. No fucker wants to be Ringo, do they? You know, not that, don't want that Thomas the Tank Engine gig. Absolutely not. No way. Good question there, Alex. Thanks, Madder. Scott Dinsdale, if you were manager of a five-a-side team, the Boro Scuttlers, who would your team be from Boro's past and present? Cheers, pet. Very good question, that. Very good question. I'd probably have Stephen Pears in goal for five-a-side, because he's got a bit of timber on him now, so he'll fill out the goal a bit more than you know, having just a normal keeper in there, because I think he'd block most of the shots. So that would be me number one. I'd have Quadro, because I reckon he could still shift the ball around the pitch a bit. You know what I mean? And normally when you go to these five-a-side courts, you'll have a load of flange watching round the railings, and we'd get more coming to watch Quadro, and then I reckon I'd have a little piece of flange off Frank's leftovers as well. So that'd be player number two. I'd have big Nigel Pearson in, because I reckon no one will mess with him, certainly on a five-side pitch. He'd be clattering, man. He'd be ramming people into the walls, the railings, everything. Oh man, and he still rocks that fucking rock hard slick back sort of like half flat top look as well. Yeah, definitely Pearson. He'd be my captain as well. So that's three players. Number four, I'd have Gary Hamilton. Gary Hamilton in the centre midfield there, a bit like just like a big, because you know Hamilton, he was a big lad, wasn't he? You know, he wasn't like built like, you know, normal footballer, and I think sometimes he grew a little bit of a nice wispy tash. So I'd request that Hamilton grows a little wispy tash, and I think he'd just sit in the centre of the park, basically just spraying the ball about, probably eating like a pasty or something at the same time, because and I reckon he'd do a top job in that midfield, you know, holding up the ball, passing backwards, shouting, "Oh well, lads, you can do it," and all that type of stuff, because the type of play it was. And then up front, it's a choice, because would I have Janino? Because, you know, five-a-side, I think he'd be a tricky little shit still, and his finishing would be sublime. Or do I go for the power of Viduka? But I'm going to go Janino, and I'm going to have Viduka on the bench. I'm going to have Hasselbank on the bench. I'm going to have Woodgate on the bench, and I'm probably going to have Deriva on the bench as well, just to bring him on, just so the opposition can laugh at the size of his head. There we go. Wilf Smith, if you could have a team of past and present players, who would you choose? It's a very similar question, isn't it? It's a very similar question. So all of the above. I'd have a bit of Cloughie in there. I'd have a bit of Souness. I'd have a bit of Nobby Styles. I'd have a bit of George Hardwick. Schwarzer, Pears, Janino, Emerson, Ravanelli. I'd even let Macaroni have a little runabout, because he did so. He's got some important goals for us from that point of view. Branco, obviously, he's my favourite player. There's loads, mate. I could go on for hours. We probably need to do a poll on my page about who would be our ultimate 11. So I might start one of them when I'm on my holidays next week. So good question, that. Cheers. Leighton Poole, my cousin is 21 and still a virgin. What should he do? And then in brackets he's put, this isn't a piss take, genuine question. My cousin is going to kill me, but shite to it. You should have given me his name as well. That would have been fun, Leighton. And then, I might have got him some flange lined up. So maybe that's the thing. Maybe I need to take him out down the town, and we need to just do some cleaning up down the town. Start off at the pig iron, because there's always some slags in there. And if we don't get anything in there, we'll move around the town. 21-year-old, I reckon somewhere like the Empire on a Thursday night will be good for him, because me and Mala went not long ago, and I felt about 60, and it was just loads of young lasses wrecked, falling over each other, wearing nothing but belts. So it wasn't right looking at them all. They were too young, so we had to leave. We ended up going in this. I can't remember what bar it was now. I think it was the Central over the road from the Empire. There was just some big hairy mums in there, and that's what we settled for. But yeah, put him in touch with me later, and I'll sort him some flange out. If not, you're probably going to have to take him over the border for his birthday, mate, and shell a bit of cash out. Not sure what the price of a brass is these days, but I'm not even sure what the standard's like. So make sure he blobs up and doesn't go with anyone with needle marks. Richie Austin, do you think we got stuffed after Peaky Blinders? The Peaky Blinders. That was a good impression there by me. And he thinks it's because we wore red shirts and blue shorts, and the players have thought we were York City and played accordingly. I don't agree. I wish we'd have played like York City, because I think they're probably a better outfit than us at the moment. Like I said, mate, no desire, no one wanted it, bottled it, there's no passion, and we're just not doing it at the moment, are we? So, but let's have faith, let's believe, Richie, let's believe. Okay, doke, let's have a look. Another one here for him, Bryce had Wilson. I said he could have two because he missed the cut-off point last week, so he said he could have two this week. He's put in, you said I could have two because I missed out last week, Ted, so he's my other one. I'm holding a gun to someone's head, and I tell him I'm going to ask him one question and want an honest answer, and he replies, fire away, can I shoot him? I see what you did there. I'm going to write that down. It's a good joke, that. It's a good joke. I'm going to write that down. I think I might use that one in my stand-up material, but I'll answer it anyway, even though I know it is in jest. But yeah, shoot him, just shoot him, you know what I mean, and then run, throw the gun in the river, and then just sort of leave the country, flee the country, and see what happens. Oh, my dad's just messaged me a joke here as well. Oh, I thought he was dead, fucking hell. What's the difference between an arsonist and Boro? An arsonist doesn't lose his matches. Oh, fucking hell, Stan. You know what I mean? He'll be laughing his head off down the club, won't he, with all his mates and acting. Look at that dead funny joke that's been shared around on about 16 Nokia 3330s. Get with the times, Stan. You know what I mean? But good joke, that. Good joke. David Power. Would you rather have arm-sized fingers or finger-sized arms? Good question, David. I've thought about this before, to be honest, mate. I would rather have finger-sized arms, although I would be restricted in what I could do. Physically, I would still be able to penetrate a flange or two, whereas if I had arm-sized fingers, it would be very difficult, and, I wouldn't even be able to get my winky out to go for a piss. So I hope that answers that one for you, David. And we've got our last one here. Oh, look, this is lovely. This is a lovely one. James Chapman, can you say hello to my son, Lennon Grundy? He's 9-year-old and found your podcast on my Spotify account. He thoroughly enjoys the show, Ted, so well done for reaching out to the younger crowd up the fucking borough. Do you know what, James? Yeah, gladly do that. Lennon, you've got a cool first name, mate. I love it, mate. 9-year-old? Oh, I wish I was 9-year-old again, playing with my E-Man figures and out on the street playing Kirby and, knocking on doors and running away. But don't do that, your dad will go mad. But you're probably sat in your bedroom playing FIFA and stuff like that. Get yourself out, son. Fresh air, little bit of garden hopping, go oggy raiding, all that type of stuff. That's the thing what youth should do. If you don't know what oggy raiding is, ask your dad. I'm sure he'll tell you. But Great, you're listening to the show, Lennon. Keep listening. I'm sorry about the bad language and the adult content. One day you'll understand where I'm coming from. But they're only words. You'll hear worse words in your life. And mine has said in jest, which is a word for joking. So keep tuning in, young man. Great to hear from you. Thanks for that, James. That was a lovely, lovely end to Ask Ted.
I've heard very bad things about you Teesside people. And this podcast is the icing on the fucking cake, mate. Isn't it?
Right, so we've come to the end of episode 16 of Ted Talks, the Ted Hanky Podcast. As always, big thank you to everyone who sent in questions and that, and a huge thank you to Boro Fan TV and Showcase Comedy who sponsor this podcast, because I couldn't do it without them, and I couldn't do it without all you manners as well. So cheers for that, you know what I mean? Listen, sorry it's a bit of a shorter episode this week, but in the opening song it does say it's 30 minutes long, so I'm just running slightly over now, but I normally give you about 45 to 55, but like I said, it's a bit of a rush job this week because I'm going on my holidays and it takes a lot of time to do these podcasts, you know what I mean? I've got to spend a couple of evenings, line up guests, fucking write some shite, all that type of stuff, so it's quite difficult. I've had no time, you know what I mean? Big Fat Julie's been doing me head in as well, pestering me to take it back and stuff like that, but anyway, if there's any features or if there's any games that you've enjoyed in previous episodes, let me know. I'll bring them back, you know what I mean? We'll reinvent them. I'm hoping to do a few in me live show, which is on the Friday the 25th of October at the Southern Cross for Laughing Pug Comedy. So get some tickets for that. They're on me. If you go on me Ted Hanky Facebook page, look at events, it's on there, and you can get them from there somehow, you know what I mean? But just got to say, listen, forget the Borough results, you know what I mean? We've got to get together as a community of Teessiders and collective Borough fans from around the world, and we've got to believe, we really have, because I think something's going to click and we're going to start 8-0 in teams, honestly. I do genuinely believe, honestly. As always, give it a share, give the podcast a share, give it a like, fire it around on social medias, If you've not left us a rating yet, go on to iTunes, podcast or Stitcher and Spotify and all those type of places and just leave us a 5-star review. It would be proper class. We much appreciated, and you know what I mean? Or you can go to coffee.com, spelled ko-fi.com, and you can buy me a coffee on there, and it also helps keep me in underpants as well. So thanks very much for that, matters, and until next time, I promise next week's show will be much more well thought out. I'm going to have some great guests, and as I said earlier, if anyone knows any famous people or any sort of Geordie Shore people or anything like that, you know what I mean, do get in touch, because I reckon I'd be able to knock out a cracking interview with those type of people, and we can get some proper in-depth sort of discussions going around flange, around haircuts, football, you know what I mean? All that type of stuff. So, you know, just hook us up, put them in touch, man. You can send us an email to info@tedhanky.com and I'll pick it up from there. But thanks as always. Open the Boro and believe.